Hi everyone, I'm Allie with PotomacBeads.com, and I'm showing you today how to make a necklace that I'm calling the Katherine Necklace. It's a composition of semicircles and some crystals going in a graduated form. There's so many different uses for this necklace and so many different varieties that you can make. Keep in mind the materials were listed first for you in the video, as well as they're listed in the drop-down in the menu here as well too. So to begin our necklace, it's really simple. I put on one 11-0 seed bead and went through the semicircle so I was going into the flat end and coming out the rounded side. Onto the needle then, I'm also going to put on 6 15-0 seed beads and let them drop next to that top of the semicircle. I'm actually going to move my stop bead back just a little bit because I still need to put my end on my clasp, and my end and my clasp on as well. So I'm going to just move this back a tiny bit, giving myself a little bit more thread space to work with that. From here, let them all drop down next to your semicircle, and you're going to go through the semicircle going through towards the flat side. That's just going to decorate the outer edge here with a couple of our seed beads and just have that nice thread line. If you don't want to see the seed beads and you want to keep it really, really simple, what you can do is use the thread color that's going to be the same color as your semicircles. So in the case here where I'm using gray thread, instead I would use black. Keep in mind whatever color thread you see though is going to affect the color of the crystals. To begin, I'm just going to begin by picking up one of my 11-0 seed beads and then again through my next semicircle going through the flat side coming out the top. You want to do about 5 or 6 where it's just the seed bead, depending on how long you want the design to be. If you don't want to use any seed beads, you don't have to. You can start with the crystals right away in that center line, which is just going to make it a little bit wider at the start. So you're going to add your 6 seed beads then, back through your semicircle, out towards the middle. Coming out the middle then again, all we do, add one of your 11-0s and add another semicircle onto the mix. 111 gets added, semicircle through the center coming out towards the rounded part. This design is so simple and it can be done with so many different types of beads. So keep in mind I'm using the semicircles because I'm enthralled with them and I have not done anything with them. I may have done a spotlight on them, I don't even remember, but I haven't designed with them. So it's kind of fun picking up new beads. And this again was another design that I played around with the semicircles during one of our design lives with Bridget and got to play with those. So after you have a collection of the 11-0s, all you're going to do is pick up your smallest round, which is going to be your 2mm round, and then you can go up to the 4 and then up to the 5 or up to the 6 as well. So I have my 2mm round that I'm going to drop in, and that's going to take the place of the 11s. Again, remember, if you do want to, you can do several more passes of the 15-0, or you can start with the crystal. It's up to you. Again, on the outside here, I'm going to add in my 6 15s. If you would like, you can also take this pattern, and instead of adding in the 6 15s, you can add 2 15s, then one of your crystals, and then 2 more 15s if you want to put that pop of crystal on the outer edge. This is going to work the best as a necklace rather than a bracelet, but if you did want to continue with the same size or not do as big of a switch in size, you could do this as a bracelet as well. If you put something on the outer edge too that has multiple holes, you could come to the outer edge and connect along into that. So I'm just going to continue then with a couple of passes, adding in my 3mm rounds before I switch to my 4mm rounds. So just showing in the design here, I've gone from using the seed beads to then 6 of the smaller crystals. Now I'm progressively getting larger, and now I'm going to jump to the larger purple Alexandrite, and these are the 6mm mirrored rounds. So these beautiful disco balls are going to be used as well, and I'm going to do about 6 of them. You want to keep track of, if you do just want to use one package of semicircles, about how many you have, and then again, if you want to, you can use chain in the back, or you can use some smaller beads along the back, because you don't necessarily want to go with semicircles the whole way around the neck because it might get a little bit uncomfortable towards the top of the neck. So working with this here, I'm going in and literally doing the same thing. You can see it's the exact same thing, and we're progressively getting larger. You could get even larger, but about 6mm is as big as you're going to want to go before they start really hitting one another at the actual portion of the semicircle. So I'm going in here and continuing on with the design. I'll do one more and show you. And again, remember, as you get to the middle, if you do want to, you can actually increase it in size by adding in some of the smaller crystals along the top of the project as well too. But you're going to go in now, and basically we're just repeating the same thing then. And adding in and repeating the same thing is going to allow you to go with that bigger bead, and then you'll start to go smaller, so depending on how much you do. And again, really the colors are going to make this necklace look completely different. Here it is in some of the golden colors that I had started it with in that live, and it has much more of kind of a regal, almost Aztec-y look to it versus the black and purple, which kind of, I think, makes it look a little bit more fun. So keep going along with your design and adding in the crystals in between those semicircles along with the seed beads to round out the top. Once you finish with the design, it's going to be time to put on some wire guards. These are going to help to connect to the chain. And I thought I'd show with this gold color here, since it's a little bit shorter, having that one in the design as well. You can see kind of the variation also of things that you can do with it. You really can put anything in the center. You're going to put onto your needle and thread after one of your 11 O's that wire guard. The wire guard is going to help to connect again to the chain. So I have on my wire guard, and I'm going back through the 11 O seed bead that my thread was coming out of. That's going to get that wire guard right in there. Now I want to reinforce the wire guard, but there's really no way to kind of come back through. So what you're going to do here is actually kind of knot the thread on itself. I want you to go underneath one of the bridge threads. So you're going underneath basically the thread that sits inside between those beads. And when you sew under the thread, you're going to make a little loop. That loop then, we're going to sew through, and that's going to create a little knot there. Once you have the knot there, you're going to come back down into the project, go through that 11 O seed bead again, reinforce going back through that wire guard, through one side of the wire guard, then back through to the other side of the wire guard. It's the same whether or not you're doing something with seed beads in between, whether or not you're doing the semicircles right after one another, because that's also a fun look and a fun design too. Then you're just going to come back into the project one more time. I would recommend sewing back a couple of the semicircles so that way you can actually knot the thread off and kind of reinforce a little bit. When you sew back through the semicircles, you're also going to sew back through those 15 O's that sit along the top, or 11 O's if you decided to kind of throw in, or crystals if you decided to throw those in. Keep in mind this design can be done with a lot of different two-hole beads, as I mentioned. Once you have that there, you're going to go to the other side of the design and create your loop on the other side as well. This can then be used in conjunction with a jump ring and attached to your chain to finish off your Katherine necklace. Again, the thing that's kind of cool about this is that you really can make it look completely different by what you use in it, as well as by what colors you decide to use, because it's going to make it look funky versus elegant versus really kind of having a fun design too, depending on which way you want to work with it. You will notice that I'm going to need to put one more of my beads in here because I do want both wire guards to sit even to the top. So I'll grab one more of my beads here, even that out, and get that to sit right along the top so that way my chain is hanging from the same direction. So when I have the ends, and you want to make sure that your ends are matching, you want to make sure that they're ending about the same length. So you can kind of keep that in mind as you're designing and as you're getting ready to be finished with the pendant. But other than that, you have lots of design ideas hopefully to go along with this Katherine necklace and to create and design your own. Thanks so much for watching the Katherine necklace. Remember that if you need any of the materials, they're listed back at the beginning of the video as well as underneath the video near that subscribe as well as like button in the description box. You can order from us at PotomacBeads.com and PotomacBeads.eu. Remember, if you'd like to, you can subscribe, and that way you'll get regular updates from us at PotomacBeads.com when we have new designs and exciting things that are happening in the beading world that we think that you should know. Remember also, you can become more involved with our community for beading and jewelry making, which is a Facebook group that we would love for you to become a member of. It's a great interactive forum to give everybody inspiration and to really enhance the art of making jewelry. Thanks so much for watching, and enjoy your own Katherine necklace.